On November 24th, 2009, John went on an adventure to Nutty Putty Cave near Utah Lake. Unfortunately, he got stuck upside down and couldn't move. This happened in part of the cave where no one had ever been because it was so narrow. It was challenging for him to breathe. This happened to 27-year-old John Jones, who spent his last 27 hours in the cave. Now let's dive into what happened to John Jones. It was a beautiful sunny day just 3 days before Thanksgiving when a young medical student named John Edward Jones went on an adventure to explore a cave. Even though everything seemed to be going well, a wrong turn led to a tragic incident called the Nutty Putty Incident. There are misconceptions surrounding this incident, and we aim to provide a complete understanding of what happened. As a child, John had some experience exploring caves, but has yet to continue. On the evening of the November 24th, John, his brother Josh, and 9 others entered Nutty Putty Cave in Utah County without earlier cave experience. The cave only has one entrance, and navigating it requires careful planning. It has beautiful spots enjoyed by many, but the real challenge begins beyond the significant slope. The cave passages are narrow, so sticking to the explored paths and ensuring enough space to turn around is essential. Nutty Putty Cave has tourist-friendly spots like the Big Room, the Maze, and the Giant Slide. Beyond the Giant Slide, there's a narrow passage called Bob's Push or Birth Canal. It's so tight that explorers have to suck in their stomachs to get through. There have been incidents of people getting stuck, but successful rescues have been made. John and his brother Josh decided to explore the cave, and John's decision to go through a less explored area called Ed's Push led to a tragic ending. Ed's Push is a challenging cave passage that needs better map. Due to its difficulty, it's considered banned for exploration. However, John decided to take an adventure in it. The passage is about 30 feet long and has many twists and turns, making it difficult to navigate. One of the most dangerous parts is called the corkscrew, where a previous incident involving a young caver occurred. John managed to pass through the tight areas but faced a new challenge as the passage widened and led to the ledge. He had to move through the space carefully and ended up on a slope, struggling to stop sliding. After stabilizing, he signaled to Josh, indicating that the slope would only add to the situation's complexity. Seeking Josh's advice on the next steps, they decided that the best course of action was to continue and locate a sufficiently wide area to turn around. Despite being tired, John began moving forward on hands and knees and noticed an opening that filled him. As he entered the opening, he quickly realized there was no way forward. Unfortunately, his upper body was already inside, through all the obstacles that had John gone through. Finally, Josh reached John, and what he saw terrified him. However, after John had relaxed his muscles, his body moved towards the narrowest part of the hole, measuring only 8 inches wide. This made it difficult for John to breathe, and as he pushed up, he began to panic and call out for Josh's help. Josh carefully crawled towards John, with his legs leading to avoid getting stuck. Although it took some time for him to pass through all the obstacles that John had faced, finally Josh reached John, and what he saw filled him with terror. When Josh saw how trapped John was in the rocks, he knew it was severe. He tried to pull John out, but it didn't work. After struggling for almost an hour, they were exhausted and decided to call for help. Josh promised to come back soon and went to get help. Meanwhile, other family members and friends arrived to talk to John. Over time, John started sinking deeper into the rocks. He started having trouble breathing because his organs were pressing his diaphragm. Time was critical and they had to call for rescue. Susie Mata was the first rescuer to act by rushing to the cave and leaving her belongings behind. It took 3 hours for Josh to go for help, and Susie arrived at the cave section where John was trapped. She knew the tricky corkscrew passage well and took precautions by tying a rope to her ankle. Her small stature helped her move through the tunnels faster than Josh. By 12:30 in the morning, she reached John, whose calm demeanor surprised her. He had retrograde amnesia, possibly from falling and hitting his head. Susie attempted to pull John out with a rope, but the passage was too complex, causing too much friction for the rope to be effective. Susie tried different strong methods, but John's body barely moved when she pulled the rope. She realized they needed a more advanced technique, like a pulley system used in 2004 to rescue Brock. A large team of 20 rescuers arrived at the cave to determine their next steps. They faced many challenges, including the 400 feet distance to John, the narrow passage, and the hard cave stone. While some rescuers prepared the pulley system, others talked to John to keep him calm. A devoted Christian, John found comfort in prayer during his dangerous situation. Being upside down for so long had started to affect John's body, pressing on his organs and limiting his breathing. Our body is designed to regulate blood flow and distribute it evenly. When too much blood and toxins accumulate in the upper body, especially in the brain, it can cause our heart to pump excessively, leading to pressure imbalances and potential organ failure. In a specific incident, John experienced visions and short-term memory loss due to being trapped in a tight space. Rescuers worked tirelessly to pull him out, facing challenges along the way. Despite initial progress, they faced unexpected difficulties due to the tight space and had to navigate the situation carefully to avoid further harm to John. Sometimes they had to pause to let John rest and carefully assess the best course of action. John exhibited distress as they continued their efforts, and the situation became more critical. Ultimately, the rescuers had to carefully plan every move to ensure John's safety and well-being. Throughout the nightmare, the rescuers' dedication and teamwork were crucial as they navigated a dangerous situation to save John's life. After Ryan began handling John's legs, a sudden loud explosion occurred. Ryan lost consciousness for a short while, and when he woke up, he saw blood everywhere. He had been injured on his face by one of the malfunctioning pulleys and carbonaires that flew out of the cave and struck him. As a result of his injury, he had to leave and seek medical help. The unfortunate thing was that John had become even more stuck, as he had cut off blood flow. Dave tried to tie a rope around John, but it got stuck. He realized they couldn't move John without putting both of them in danger. After getting stuck for 15 minutes, Dave managed to get out and asked Brandon to take his place. Brandon used a telecom system to let John speak to his wife, Emily. Despite some optimism, they knew things looked grim. John made gurgling sounds before becoming unresponsive, and the rescue team planned to send a paramedic to check on him at 11:56 p.m. On Wednesday, November 25th, a man named John Jones was declared dead after an accident in the Nutty Putty Cave. Despite the rescue team's efforts to save him, John survived for an impressive 27 hours in a difficult position. Unfortunately, his body became stiff and couldn't be recovered. He was laid to rest in the cave, which was sealed off permanently. A plate was put in place to honor John Edward Jones.